more than 290 dialects we have in India. Every 100 kilometer things change, culture changes, language changes. So what she mentioned about Dungri and all those were the local languages, just for the audience who doesn't know. Yeah, for you just to know about it. India is a diverse country with so many challenges, and to do a thing and then actually getting it scaled up is the biggest challenge we have, especially at the state government level and at national level, both. Yes, Stella, to continue.
Thank you. So I just want to clarify a little bit the difference. So Priyamvada, what she is presenting is a particular initiative in which I had used the ComCare platform and how they worked with partners, how they developed and designed it, how they implemented it, and worked with panchayats to have that adoption. This is a separate entry, but it's on the ComCare platform more generally, and the work that we're doing, that Damagi is doing with ComCare. So just to introduce myself, I'm Stella. I'm the country director for Damagi in India. And the basic idea that I want to articulate about ComCare is that we have this ASHA program, an Anganwadi program in India. And we have a commitment from the government, one ASHA for every 1,000 people in villages. And we know that ASHAs can be a very effective and very powerful mechanism for bringing basic public health interventions into people's households and really, explaining to communities why it's important to access the health system and proper sort of health practices. But one of the challenges that we see in India as this program, is at scale, is that it's really hard, in particular instances, it works out fine. But when we talk about a program that's run across the states, there's huge challenges of scale. And the idea for ComCare is, okay, why don't we create a platform that's meant for community health workers as a mobile job aid for community health workers that's really going to help an ASHA program or another type of community health worker program go to scale and really support people who are working at the last mile in the course of their jobs, be able to provide these essential services and enable supervisors and governments to be able to monitor and support these people, who are really kind of, out going door to door, and which without the technology, we don't have a lot of oversight or support or transparency into at all. So that's the basic idea. We categorize kind of the benefits that we see ComCare bringing under sort of 4 headings. So improving access, quality, experience, and accountability of care. But before I get into that, I just want to say that what ComCare is, again, it's a platform. So it's a system where any organization can log into a website, specify, without being a technical person or a programmer, specify sort of content, modules, questionnaires, different things, images and audio messages that they want to go into the phone, and then automatically be able to download that into a mobile application that a program can then use. So I'm not talking about a particular application in this case. I'm talking about a system that enables organizations and agencies to create a mobile application designed to their needs, and also to be able to adapt and maintain that over time in a cloud-hosted environment that allows various different organizations and agencies to leverage the same platform without having to, let's say, set up their own servers necessarily or maintain a separate sort of software system. So back to access, quality, experience, and accountability. In terms of access, one of the things that ComCare can do is it tracks clients over time. So you can register individual patients, not patients, but individual households or pregnant women or children into the phone and be able to sort of follow them over time and see whether, have you, as an ASHA, have you met all of the people that you registered in your phone, and make sure that you're doing your visits and you're doing your visits on time. So that's one of the ways, and I could go into more, but that's one of the ways that we look at improving sort of access and just the process of making sure ASHAs are visiting all of the clients that they're supposed to be. From a quality perspective, as Priyamvada talked about, there's the ability to put protocols into the phone. So there's important medical protocols like IMCI and other best practices for what an ASHA should be doing and when she should be deciding to refer somebody to a clinic or not. And so we put that logic and that intelligence into the phone so that they enter information about the person in front of them, and then the phone will tell them what to ask next. And the phone will sort of tell them, okay, at this stage you probably need to refer this person, or you need to tell this person to take these steps in order to make sure that her malnourished child is recovering well. Improving experience, so you saw the images and audio messages. That's the part that really gets people excited at the front level, at the front line, in terms of, okay, so they're using a phone, they're entering data. The data is exciting to us. It's the images and the video and the audio messages that are exciting to ASHAs, and also exciting to beneficiaries, of course. And finally, overarching all of this, the big advantage of mobile technology is the ability to transmit data in real time. So you can, in real time, have supervisors, ASHA facilitators, A&Ms, for example, have information about what's going on in the communities, what's the work that ASHAs are doing, are they doing their work, and what's the status of the different sort of patients, not patients, but beneficiaries that they're visiting. I've talked about some of this already, so just a quick recap. Collect data, track clients, use multimedia on the mobile side, and on the web side, you monitor and support your workforce remotely, with automated reports that show you, okay, what kind of work has all your different workers done, and who's submitting the most forms, who's visiting the most clients, for example, and the ability to sort of create applications, update kind of who has access to information on the web, and have that information automatically kind of transmitted down to the mobile level. So you can, for example, update, let's say, a price list on a phone, on the server, and have that information downloaded into the mobile apps that ASHAs are using anyways when they're going about their work. Here's some of the benefits. I think in the interest of time, I've already talked about some of these, so I'm just going to skip over this slide. We've been asked to speak about uniqueness and impact. How is this different from there are other technologies, I'm sure many of you are familiar with them, where you have certainly a mobile phone being used to collect data in the field. And there's also other technologies where people are equipping ASHAs or A&Ms or Anganwadi workers with a mobile job aid. What is it that makes ComCare different from these other technologies that exist there? So one is that it's an open source platform, as I mentioned. Every other major organization doing this kind of work in India works with a partner and develops like a custom solution, as far as I'm aware, works with an organization, develops a custom solution that involves bringing in a programmer, programming up a specific application, and then a year later, if they want to change some questions or they're running into some problems, they need to hire that person again and have that person kind of update the code base. In our case, we're talking about a platform where we train organizations, and IHAD is one example, and then they're able to make the updates themselves, and they don't need to come back to us. And every time we add functionality to it, IHAD and other organizations can benefit from that automatically, because it's one platform that we're all using. How am I doing for time? Yeah, good. Okay.
Thank you, Stella.
I'm not done.
Not done?
Just checking the time.
Sorry.
Sorry. Okay. And then the other, the second feature of the way that we do work, which is really a tip of the hat to our excellent partners, of which IHAD is one, is that we defer a lot to our partner organizations, organizations like IHAD that really sort of take the time, and we don't just like take a spec and program something up and then voila, you're done. We work with partner agencies, and partner agencies do a lot of field testing and iteration in order to make sure that the application that they're making is relevant in their context. So even in cases where organizations are just, like they kind of think they know what they want anyways, we say, okay, no, like take a month, take 2 months, field test it, have a pilot group, try it out, see what's actually happening, and see kind of this protocol that looks so good on paper, see what happens when people actually try to use it, and you find out, okay, that this workflow doesn't quite match what happens on the ground, and it isn't quite appropriate in this context for whatever reason. Case management is another feature, so the ability to not just submit data, but the next time you come back to a household, the phone tells you, okay, this is a pregnant woman that you visited 6 weeks ago because you were late, and she hasn't done her ANC visits. You need to remind her of these things. So the ability to sort of facilitate customized care, and overarching all of that, the ability to have a platform that's designed for low resource settings. So this platform and the tool and the way it's used, this isn't something that's fancy that needs to be used on a smartphone or a computer. This is something where even people who are not literate, who've never owned a phone and who've never even written, we train them, we work with them, we build up their capacity to be able to use this technology, particularly with the multimedia support. The images in case you can't read Hindi, audio messages in case it's not clear in your local language. Yeah, okay.
Worker, but application is certainly going to be scaled up to be used by frontline workers. Thank you, Stella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 very quick questions.
Yeah. So to answer your first question, it is free and open source, so anyone can take it and download it and use it. In terms of platform development versus solution development, our developers work on developing the platform, and then we have a cadre of field managers that work with client organizations and really kind of emphasize, okay, the implementation, the design, the planning, the building of capacity, and the development of best practices and tools to make, to make the technology actually incorporate well into existing systems.
The technical people sitting in the audience, WHO is recommending open MRS source and DHIS2. Okay? She's using free, what you asked the question was. But most of the countries in Southeast Asia region are adopting open MRS and DHIS2. So whatever developments you are doing in terms of, you may even focus on that for global proliferation of your technology. Yeah. Any other question, please? Yeah,
and we have just to clarify, we have shared data between OpenMRS and DHIS2. Those typically operate at higher levels of the cell health system, even though OpenMRS has a mobile version.
Yeah, please.
I was wondering about how do you monitor absenteeism and also the manipulation of data?
Absenteeism is something. You mean absenteeism of ASHAs not doing their visits?
Yeah. Putting in the data, but they're actually not doing anything.
Right. So the phone, when they fill in a form associated with the visit, the idea is they fill it out in the course of their visit, and then the phone keeps track of how long they took to fill out the form, and when they started and when they ended. And so somebody who just in the middle of the night starts like pressing through forms and saying yes, 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 that's going to show up in the sense that, well, one, all their answers will be yes, and two, it'll take them 2 minutes to do a session that should take half an hour or an hour to do. And if they wanted to falsify it in a way that reflected the proper time and the proper duration, it would be as hard to do that as it would be to actually just go and do the visit themselves. So that's how we address that. In terms of, sorry, your other question?
Fudging the data.
Fudging the data, yes. We're working with a researcher from the University of Washington who's run algorithms on the data, and there's ways to detect outliers in the sense that if somebody is like fudging the data, then their responses aren't going to be the same as others. It'll be anomalous, and that will need investigation. Whether it's fudging or whether they're misunderstanding the application, for example, and needs some more training, is a matter that kind of requires a little bit further investigation. But yeah.
Which part of the world you are from?
I'm from England, but I'm working for operations.
How long you are in India?
I've been in India for 1 year now.
You know so much India now. Intelligent question. Because fudging data is a very big challenge always we face. So you have had a nice experience, I say. Yeah.
See, I'm sorry if I sound like a fool, you might already be doing it, but in the presence of GPS-enabled devices, won't it be very simple to geotag the location of the residence, and then every time verify whether the person is coding in the data from the same location? Just a thought.
Absolutely, yeah. No, CommCare already, it does support GPS. You need to, CommCare runs on a feature phone like this or an Android. The hardware needs to be there to use GPS coordinates, but there are organizations that have them take the GPS location each time they do a visit, and then they know. And then you can have that shown on a map as well.
Okay, no more question. Thank you very much. We have the next presenter.
Little explanation on this. ये जो कहाँ से real-time monitoring, that was an issue raised by ASHAs that why policing on us. So it's an added job. We don't want to engage into this. So we convinced them. We assure them that it's not for policing and monitoring whether you are working or not. There are conditions where the network is not working. So it works, the application works offline also. So whenever they are done with the field work.
Yeah, you mentioned in your presentation, offline is there.